Audio up. Just made it here. Ran down from upstairs to get a quick cup of tea and away we go. I was sizing this morning upstairs. Things are kind of getting out of hand here. What with the spring rush in the shop, much less time to do the other jobs. So I had a sizing batch this morning. Don't ask me what time I started. It's okay. Okay, here we have. Paper is out. Thank you. It is out because, yes, I had to get it out to make room for what I was doing up there. Absolutely. Paper is out. 2 batches. And thanks for yesterday. They're shooting pictures of the donkey store, I think. You can see it from where they are. Okay, let's go. What we have today is it's going to be a carving, continuing these Patreon chibis. That's the block we finished yesterday, just sitting here on the bench, just exactly where I left it yesterday. Today we're going to flip it over and cut the what's on the back side. This must be the block for the pink/lavender color, I believe. Yeah, it's not donkey store as in donkey the animal, it's donkey store as in Don Quixote. So here in Japan it's called donkey for short. Nothing to do with animals. This isn't the blue block, this is the pink. That was the blue block yesterday. This was blue and we got the little corner. This is the pink flowers, and we're going to use the pink/red to help us build a dark brown. So all these areas at the side of let me pop up the original here again, for those of you who don't know what this is all about. The print you see in the top left corner, there's dark brown areas. For example, on that walkway, the edge shadow is dark brown. And we're going to build the dark brown by using colors from the pink block, the blue block, and the, skin colored block will be pseudo yellow. So together they should add up to give us a muddy brown. In an ideal world, we'd have a separate block for the dark brown, which we could tone exactly to what we wanted, but we're trying to keep the number of blocks a little bit down here to keep the costs at a reasonable level for this. And show and tell, we have a little bit of show and tell today, a little bit different show and tell. Not some, here I bought this print on auctions, I don't know what it is, but it looks like fun, put it away. Not that kind of show and tell. We have a show and tell about some wood blocks. Well, whatever, we'll get to it. Remind me somewhere around 9 o'clock or something, and we'll talk about it at that time. This is Sunday morning, so Cameron will not be here. I'll be here by myself. And I'd like to get some work done, so where am I? We'll start up here. Let's zoom in. It's quite time. And the street outside is pretty quiet, but actually about 15 minutes ago it was crazy busy. The building you see on the right hand side, I'm talking about the street view here. At the right hand, far distant side there's a red brick type of building. And that's what used to be the City Hall before the war. It burned down during the war. It was rebuilt as City Hall. And then the City Hall moved over towards Ueno Station. And what this became the local concert hall. It's owned and managed by the city, but it's a giant concert hall. And because this is Asakusa, they do whatever they do, beginning of the year special kabuki presentations, and it's also famous. Any enka singer who is worth their whatever does concerts here. This is the main place where you would come to hear enka singing. You know, these singers rent the hall and have their fans come. And frequently we can see, if I'm going out in the evening, it'll be just as a concert is finishing or something, and I walk by the stage door. See the guys walking. If you walk straight along our street, you pass the stage door to this place. And the fans are lined up outside, women with bouquets of flowers and stuff like this, and black cars. The doors open, a black car comes up the ramp, windows tinted, drives slowly past all the fans, who go berserk. They can't see anything inside at all, and off the car goes into the night. It's really a bizarre situation. Anyway, and this morning there's some kind of concert was happening there. Maybe it was like I don't know, a traditional Japanese singing and dance. Because from 8:30, no, from 7:30 to about 7:45, a parade of ladies walked past the front of the shop here, kimonos and hairpieces, and they're carrying their cases, which must have been shamisen and kodos and whatever. So over at the concert hall today must be a traditional Japanese music, a concert of something. Maybe rehearsal this morning, concert this afternoon, or early concert, I don't know. No idea. So there was a stream of them passing by the window here. It would have been interesting. No connection with our normal 808 shoe lady. Do I know the former location of the brick tower? Yeah. If you go to, if we walk here, turn left out of my door here, go towards the donkey store. At that corner, that's what they now call Broadway. That's the street that had all the theaters on. If you turn right there, it goes to a T-junction where there's a big pachinko parlor. At the left of there, now as you stand looking at the pachinko parlor, on your left-hand side is a pachinko parlor under construction at the moment. That's where the tower was. There's a little tiny plaque for it on the side of one of the walls there. 8 stories. I thought it was 10 or 12 stories. Was it 8 stories? I don't remember. I'm sorry. Well, we know about that. I wasn't here, no, but so it's right there. It's about 1 minute's walk from here. And I heard, and I don't know what's happening with this, when we first moved here 5 years ago, that particular corner had hoardings around it. It was under construction. And the panel said, home of the new to be spectacular, something, pachinko parlor. And it's silent. The project had gone bankrupt or something, or didn't get planning permission finished or whatever. It was dug up, but didn't continue. And I saw a newspaper story that what they had planned was, as part of their pachinko parlor, was to make a recreation of that tower. And I think that's where the planning permission ran into trouble. Height restrictions, X, Y, whatever, I don't know. And I don't know what's happened for it, except that now, in the last few months, construction has started again. So I should look into this. I don't know the details, but it's possible that there is a reconstruction of that tower under construction as we speak right now, or whether that part of the project was cancelled. I don't know. This is maybe Googleable. I don't know. And it's literally right around the corner from me here. So. I can never remember the Japanese name of that thing. Once I hear it, I'll remember it, but I can never pull it out of my database. Kaku, something like that. Kaku, Kaku. Kaku. I can never remember it. Also, there's different stories told here about this business, about the first electricity, the first elevator, the first gas lights, blah, blah, blah. And lots of different buildings around here have claim to those. And on our street here, again, when you turn out, go out my door and turn left, in the next block there's a white apartment building, what they call a mansion in Japan. It's a condominium type building. Shops on the ground floor and then living upstairs. And they've taken the name of the Denki-kan, electric building, and you read the various histories, and that was the place where there was the first electric lights, the first elevator, stuff like that. So I don't know, these buildings have various claims to these things. I think the tower was the one with the first interior gas lights and the first little box that went up and down like an elevator. The Denki-kan, I think, was the first one, as its name would imply, the first one with electric lights. Anyway, they're both long gone now, of course, absolutely long gone. But this was a real hopping area. It was an ultra-modern, super hip, anything goes district. stores are busy again today. Is it always Sunday they're busy here? I don't know. Kaku. Good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, 12 stories. I thought 8 was a bit shy. Thank you. Why do I cut the little corners, the triangles? A couple of things. One is so that I can see where these areas are. Later on when I'm clearing with the big chisel, if those little openings are not cut out, and all we can see are the lines of my knife going in, that's sometimes invisible, so it's really dangerous. So by having these little triangles popped out, one, I can see the zones that are the active zones, and also that's where we get the chisel in. You'll see later on when I get doing it. The chisel can go in the side here and pop in. My girlfriend and I were in Saxon recently and tried to eat at a restaurant but were turned away. Is discrimination against foreigners a common occurrence there? No. Turned away, they would have been full or reserved, or you can get turned away as singles. A lot of the restaurants, this is an area that specializes in okonomiyaki and monjayaki. And the tables have a hot plate in the middle and room for 2 people on a small table or 4 people. And on weekends and lunchtimes or whatever, it's jammed, full to capacity. So if they only had tables for 4 left, they would turn away a couple, whether you're Japanese or from Mars or wherever. Nothing to do with where you're from. I get turned away. If I try to go to one of those places on an evening by myself, forget it. And it wouldn't matter where you're from. Turned away as foreigners. I don't in a suck, so that doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry. So. There was one place here, it's gone now, across the street just from where I am now. It was called Tentake. It was a tendon place, tempura on top of rice kind of place. It's a really, really tiny little place, like room for 5 people, or people to sit in, whatever. At one point they put up a clumsy sign. They put up a sign that said, it was written in Japanese, most of it. And these kids go to the concert hall. So look at that. It's got a drum, instruments. They put up a clumsy sign, most of it in Japanese and a bit of it in English. And I forget the exact wording. It was all reported about. In fact, you can find it, Faifa. It said something like, no strollers, no babies, no room for this, and all. I forget the wording. No groups of more than 4 or something. And then what they had put on also, because they'd had trouble with foreigners understanding this, they had very clumsily just said, whatever, no foreigners. I don't know, he wasn't trying to exclude them. I chatted with him later. He wasn't trying to exclude them because they were foreigners. It was because they didn't fit in his little tiny restaurant and they were big and made noise and whatever. Anyway, but he made the big mistake of putting this sign up in English too that said no foreigners. And some guy came along, a foreigner, saw it and went ballistic and reported him to the police and city hall and whatever. And it went round and round the English newspapers. I think if you can Google it. What's the place name? Tentake. T-E-N-T-A-K-E. Tentake. If you Google that, Tentake, Asakusa, no foreigners, whatever, you'll find some thread on different forums that were yelling about discrimination and whatever. And the guy was just trying to manage his business in the face of a chaotic environment. It's gone now. That's the building that was torn down across the street there in December. chopped. Okay, I think that's it on the top half of this. I think I've got all the areas here outlined. Oh. Yeah, let's move down to the bottom. Conversation going on, conversation. Oh my God, I'm missing all of this, whatever, I'm sorry. Kentucky place, Debito. Yeah, that's probably it. That guy's name. His name was David. I forget his last name. Debito. He called himself Debito. He became a Japanese citizen, and he was always against. If he found any tiny little discrimination thing anywhere, he would massively jump on it and try and blah blah blah. There are a few places around here that say no foreigners. I know if you go to the from here, turn left, go to the Don Quixote store, go past Don Quixote on your right, then go down the back alley behind the Don Quixote store. There's a place called, it's Max something, I forget what it's called. Max. It's a soul plant. I think it's called Soul Plant Max, or Max hyphen something soul plant. And the entrance is down the side of a back alley, and it's lit up and it says clearly, no foreigners admitted. Like, I'm not interested in going there, but it says no foreigners. And I can guess they've had trouble. A place like that, the Soap Land, one of their business models is you get the guy naked on the table and then they start adding extra charges, whatever. I don't even know how it goes. But a typical Mr. Japanese salaryman just folds. He just ends up paying. And they've probably had the experience of foreigner says, what are you trying to charge me for? No way. They'll fight back and make trouble. So they've learned that, look, just don't let foreigners in there and whatever. So it says clearly, no foreigners admitted. Not the Max business. Yeah, paper is out. Yeah, just John Becker. Turn right at Donkey Yoshinoya on the left, Sukiya on the left. I myself, I eat at the Sukiya now and then. When I'm in a hurry, or when it's on a Saturday or Sunday night, the normal restaurants are packed out. I go to Sukiya. For 600 yen, I can get more food than I can handle. Yoshinoya, I'm not so in love with. Too salty, but Sukiya is okay. And then, yeah, the Sunshine Pachinko Parlor, that's the one at the end of the T. And as you stand looking at the Sunshine Pachinko Parlor, the construction site on the left is where the Ryoun Kaku used to be. The Gyudon-ya, what the three big ones, it's Yoshinoya, Sukiya, and Matsuya. And there's no real big difference. If you gave me a taste test with the three in front of me, you can't tell the difference because the way they cut the meat and the way they shred the meat and the little flavor is a bit different. And for my preference, it's the Sukiya, but none of these are really great food. It's filling, cheap food when that's what you need. And they usually do, in the winter, they do a nabe. So you've got a little hot plate with some hot soup and noodles in it, and a bowl of rice, and it's really extremely filling for next to nothing. It's the dirt cheap, cheapest food in town, and fillingest food in town. And I can't understand how they make a business model with such cheap prices, but I guess they're buying whatever Australian or Canadian beef, dirt cheap and something or whatever, I don't know. And the way they shred the meat and fluff it up, there's probably only the tiniest 2 or 3 grams of meat there, but they make it look like it covers all the rice on the bowl, so whatever. They're experts at that part of it. So. But yeah, it's hot, filling food. Winter especially, I don't eat that much in summer, but I need a real hot fill up. Is that yellow really inside the water? What am I? Oh no, that's the that's the top of the water level. This is the side of the bucket, which is a sort of a shadowed color there. Oh, I hear a question. Something went in the question box. Haven't heard that in a long, 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 long time. We do have an official question system here. You're talking about T. That's okay. I'll just check out. Take a look at the question box here. Hang on a sec. All I gotta do is look at Twitch and it starts auto playing. Right? Twitch questions. There's 2 questions in there. I didn't notice that. Wood quality. Have you ever had to toss a wood block as you've carved it due to the wood quality that you didn't expect, or any similar quality issues other than accidents? Yes, and if you've watched the Great Wave series of videos, the first block I started carving for the Great Wave print turned out not to be good enough. I'm not sure if I can answer so much more about it here. If you're interested in that point, go back to the Great Wave videos. It must be the 2nd or 3rd video in the Great Wave series. And yeah, the block I started carving, I found out it wasn't hard enough. Next question, this is for today here. Do you remove the black borders entirely from around the yellow areas, or does it not need to be cut as precisely as when you cut the key block lines? Not quite sure what the question means here, but I can guess. And the key block lines, when I cut them, they had to be cut, whatever, exactly. When if this were the key block we were cutting, the tracing is here, and I cut trying to differentiate between black and white. We leave black and take away white, so the edge of that line is exactly where I cut. Now we're cutting a key block. Now we're cutting a color block, and this is different. So these lines that are on here are going to be thick black. Let's say my finger was the black line. We've got a color on this side and a color on this side. So I cut, just as an easy way to describe it, I cut somewhere in the middle of that black line here, so that this color will come up to this part of the thing and the other color will come up to the other part of it. So in general here, I'm cutting somewhere in the middle of the black lines. And having said that, it's a little bit different in some cases. This kind of print has really quite thick lines, and the print is going to be printed with quite a heavy black color. So it doesn't really matter where I go here, as long as I'm somewhere inside that line, because the end of the color won't be visible. It'll be a fairly light color covered by a thick black line. And even though we print the black first and the colors come later, they won't show in the part over the black. But the thinner those black lines get, the more critical it is, the place where you cut the color block. And if it's a very light color, which is going to be butting up against a dark color, I can let this go a little bit to the edge of the black line, or even outside, and I know I'm safe, it won't show up. But the other way around, if I'm cutting something that will be a dark color later on being printed next to a light color, I have to keep it shy, because if I get the tiniest bit over that line, then it will show in the wrong place. So knowing in advance what colors are going to be printed here, that affects where I move my knife in the middle of this line. Is that the answer? I guess so. Anyway, so at the moment, this is a color block, and I am not cutting on the lines, I am cutting inside the lines. haven't been watching. Have we had interesting stuff going on outside? I don't know. It's still pretty early. What color block is this? This is going to be the pink / red / mauve color. This is the 31st, last day of the month today, so we're looking forward to a few changes coming up. You know, in Japan, stuff changes a lot between March and April. It's the new school year, the new employment year, a lot of stuff changes. Clockwork on March to April change. And the coffee shop across the street, we've chatted about this before, and they're really having labor troubles. They used to do dinner, they closed for dinner. They used to do lunch, they closed for lunch. Now they're just down to a bare bones coffee service for 4 hours a day, 7 to 11 each morning. And I chatted with one of the girls there who works there in the morning, and she works at a nearby bar in the evening, so I met her there. I asked her, what's going on with your coffee shop? She said, well, we can't get staff, can't get staff. I'm like, what's going to happen? You're down to like 4 days a week. You can't run a business like that. She says, oh, the boss has got a plan. She says, from April it's changing. Just wait and see. So she said from April it's changing, so let's have a look. So maybe starting tomorrow, it'll be a new place to get dinner. Who knows? I don't know if they've got staff. We'll see. I shouldn't have too much high expectations because whatever, we'll see how it goes. And then again, probably next week, now that we've moved into April, I'll close up my shop here one evening, whatever. Okay, let's go get dinner. Let's head out for dinner at such and such a place. I'll walk around there. And I'll find a sign that says closed. Okay, I think we've got this. So there's good news and bad news here. The good news is, I think I finished cutting all the color areas for this block face. The bad news is that means I'm going to make some noise because it's time to persuade this thing a little bit and clear out the unneeded areas, and that's when it gets noisy. So if you're a newbie on this stream, say goodbye to the ASMR mood. Let's make some noise. At what time will they release the new era name? Yes, 11:30 in the morning, Japan time. I think they originally said 12 o'clock, but it's been moved up. And it'll be all over the internet within seconds. And this is interesting. They are really, and I mean they are really paranoid about this thing leaking. They're going to have the deal. They've got their cabinet meeting. I forget the schedule, 9:30 cabinet meeting. Have their talk. The scholars are there. They're going to decide what to do. The scholars are going to be in one room with the Prime Minister and the Cabinet Secretary. It's going to get decided. I think the Cabinet Secretary is the guy who has the final say, maybe the Prime Minister, whatever. They move to the next room, tell the Cabinet what's going on. A runner goes out to the palace to report to the current Emperor and the Crown Prince, who will be the next Emperor. They've got to tell them first. Then the runner comes back, says all clear. They go to the next room where the cameras are waiting and make their announcement. The calligrapher is going to do a couple of copies of the new name. And they've already announced that if it leaks between the time when they make their decision and the time that they make the announcement, if it leaks, they're going to can it and pull it and change the name. So if some cabinet minister, whatever, has a little cell phone and texts his wife and she leaks it and whatever, if something happens, they will cancel the thing and choose a different name. They're really, really serious about this. And if I was one of the people organizing this, I would strip search the cabinet members, whatever, put them in a Faraday cage, no information leak whatsoever. It's fun. I remember the last one. The cabinet, what was his name? Mobuchi-san. He held up Heisei. I wasn't sure how to read it first, but they made their announcement straight away. Well, the emperor didn't die. He's retiring today. Oh, no. The announcement, the new name is today, and the era change happens at the end of April. Last day in April, he retires. First day in May, the announcement is made of the new emperor. So, but they're giving a 1 month advance warning of the era name. And man, there were dogfights back in the political realm about that. The conservative guys did not want to do this, and normal people did want the announcement made. So. You're talking about tea. I don't know whether I should be reading this script or not. You're just talking about tea, which I know nothing about, but whatever. So is the new era the name of the coming era, or the current? No, the current emperor, his name is Akihito in terms of his given name, and the era is Heisei. And he is known as the Heisei Emperor. Nobody uses his name. And I don't know what they're going to call him once he's retired, because we've never been in this situation before. In the previous situation, when the man they called Hirohito died, he is now known as the Showa Emperor, Showa Tenno. So this guy is going to retire, and I guess he will be known as Heisei Tenno, I guess. I don't know, because it's a new situation that we haven't been in before, in living memory. So I don't know. Okay, like I said, I got to make some noise. What's this? Somebody's taking a picture, you said? What was this? Someone took a picture of your camera. I didn't see that, so. Okay, here we go. Nice. Watch your headphones, please. instead of going right through to the end of this is another 15 minutes of hammering to do all this. There's no point doing that on the stream. It's too loud, I can't talk, it's not so much fun to watch. So what we'll do is this. You can see what's happening here. I got to clear on the outside. I should go all the way everywhere, clear it outside. But let's pause for the moment just there. I'll switch to the smaller chisels to clear out this part because it's much more useful for the stream instead of just whacking away endless noise. So we should clear everything at this point, but let's just take a pause from that and go back and switch to the third stage. Now, first stage, always with a block, is cutting the lines with the knife. That's step one with any block. Step two with any block is clear away as much as we can of the waste wood with the big chisels. You can't come right against the line, but you can get close to it. And step three then of each block is the final flattening of the bottom and coming up to the line and clearing everything away, getting it so it looks like this, ready to print. So we finished step one, we did part of step two, and let's go ahead to step three so you can see how it works here. Show and tell them. All right, fair enough. Yeah, good. Good time to do that. Okay. Let's put on my show and tell hat and we'll look at that, because it's about wood anyway. Fair enough. So what we should do, we need some space here, so let me zoom out a bit. They're taking my pamphlet. That's my door. And we've got two pamphlets on the door right there. One at the moment is for the print parties. There's a pamphlet there. And the second pamphlet on the door there is staff wanted. Staff wanted. Okay. I don't quite remember what we talked about last week. I said we were getting some auction stuff, and I mentioned that I had won an auction for some wood blocks. And in the auction it was for an auction for, I forget the exact wording. The guy had split it into two groups. He said 25 small random little wood blocks with pictures on them. He put them in two groups. Nobody else bid, so I got it. And the picture he showed in the auction was not really so useful. It showed a bunch of small little wood blocks. A couple of them looked like they might have pictures on. It wasn't clear. A bunch of them looked like food wrapper type stuff that had an umbrella motif on. Anyway, it was cheap. We bought it. I had them shipped to Ome, not to the Asakusa shop here, because it looked like they weren't going to be something useful for daily life. When I went out to Ome last Tuesday, the box was still sitting in the entranceway, and I asked the staff, like, why didn't you put this away? And she says, ha, 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 you try and pick it up. And I tried to pick it up, and I couldn't. It obviously was more than what we had thought was in it. So we crack it open, we get inside, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, a bunch of little wood blocks. We just throw them aside. And then we opened up a few other things. And there are a bunch of wood blocks that are a bit of a puzzle to me, because here we are. There's a wood block like this, which is carved with the design of a couple of people sitting there playing shamisen. And although the upper area is slightly darker, it looks like that's the original Hanshita paper. It doesn't look to have been printed with black ink. And it has been printed with some kind of light pink ink, and then some printer has chopped away parts that were a bit too shallow. And I'm like, what has gone on here? And when you look at it under the microscope, the edge does show that it's worn a little bit. This block has been used. But it hasn't been used to print anything, for example, black or in vivid colors, only in a pale pink. So first up, I didn't want to rub black ink all over this to spoil it, but I do want to see what the picture was. So what I did was, I took an embossing of this. Now, am I going to be able to show you this? I don't know. I should have done this on a day when Cameron was here to help me with this and get the camera sorted out. It is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful carved image of two people. Here, so what you're looking at here, this is an embossing of the block I took yesterday. There's no registration marks on it. It wouldn't have been printed multicolors, and I have no idea, other than it is very cool, beautifully carved. So what you're seeing here is just a kudazuri. I just printed it on a piece of moist paper. And what it was used for, what it was all about, I haven't the slightest idea. But when you look at the image itself in a bit of a larger scale, it turns out that left to right here across this thing, and top to bottom, it fits exactly in what we publish as our Hunger Club series, Japanese postcard series. So once we've had a look at this and done, I am going to get ready to print this thing properly with normal pigment and put it out in our Hunger Club series. I have no idea who carved it, what it is. Going by the age of the piece of wood, whatever, we're looking at post-war, maybe 1960s, not quite sure. Anyway, and there's a bunch of these in that box. So fabulous. That would have more than been enough to pay for the expense of buying the auction. But also in there, and also very heavy, was a group of 3 wood blocks. I better zoom out again. A group of 3 wood blocks with text on them. I've only got one here to show you at the moment for the 3, and I picked up the first one and I thought, oh my God, what have they done here? This is ironwood. It's beautifully, beautifully, beautifully selected, rock hard key block cherry wood, carved with some calligraphy, quite thick, and just the perfect size for our ukiyo heroes and sushi cats series of prints. So I brought them back to Asakusa straight away, took them to Aoyama-san the next day. This is Wednesday last Wednesday. And he said, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So he and we want to use this wood, but I don't want to destroy the carving. What I've done is I did, because this one has been printed in black, I got my brush out and I took a proof of the 3 blocks, 1, 2, 3, that were carved with calligraphy. And again, this is a bit old-fashioned stuff, difficult for us to read. The one you're looking at right there is this block. And it turns out these are lyrics. And we printed these out, we read them. These 2 go together. And it says, Hatsune. You know Hatsune Miku? First sound, Hatsune Miku, they picked up. It was an old song in the Nagauta genre. And this block is dated Showa 5, the first month. I can't read what day it was. And it's done in beautifully delicate calligraphy, quite readable. There's kana on the side. Even somebody who can't read the old-fashioned lettering can read this. And there's no way that I want to destroy these blocks. This is not worth anything. This is not really old. It's only just a little bit older than I am, 20 years older than I am. But there's no way I will destroy this. It's beautifully nice carving of a type that I would just, but I want to use this wood. It's gorgeous wood that we want to use, but I don't want to destroy the carving. So what do? I put one block aside for the moment because it was quite warped and difficult to do this next step with. And then I took the 2 other ones, which were dead flat and had a backside that hadn't been touched and used. And I asked Aoyama-san to take them over to the guy who does our resawing. And we glued a piece of thick paper on the calligraphy to protect it, put the boards through a bandsaw, and we sawed off the top 5 millimeters where the calligraphy is, and we resawed the back side of it into 2 more pieces. So the single board that looks like the one I just showed you, we split it into 3 pieces. And the top piece with the calligraphy, we just quickly glued down onto a base plate so that it wouldn't warp and split. And the 2 other pieces that Aoyama-san got off there, he quickly, before they warped and split, laminated them down onto a plywood base. And I can't show you right now because they're upstairs in the clamp. You know, I've showed you before how we make wood blocks. So out of these 2 old calligraphy blocks, we have now preserved the 2 old calligraphy blocks. They're still here. We won't plane them off. We'll leave them. We'll talk about them. And maybe this turns out to be really interesting. We're okay. But each one of these old blocks has now been cloned, and we have two, well actually we've got four, because we've put the hardwood on one side and the softwood on the back side. We now have the wood for four more key blocks for prints in our Ukiyo Hero series. Very, very, very nice find. And the guy who had the auction didn't even show pictures of these, didn't even talk about them. He had just taken a photo of the little fancy prints with the umbrella pictures on and put them cheap. And I paid 3,000 yen, 3,000 yen, 6,000 yen all told for the 25 little blocks. And these came as free ride. And I would have happily paid whatever, a whole lot more, whatever. I would have paid 5 figures for each one of these if I'd known and been able to touch it and seen how heavy they were. So these two pieces now go into the collection, just storage. They'll never be looked at or whatever. When we get time for them, we'll scan them, put them in the collection. The lyrics might be interesting, might not be. I don't know what. It doesn't matter. But we've preserved the attractive calligraphy carving, and we now have two more beautiful, four more beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Ukiyo Heroes blocks. It's not going to show, well, it's so black here to show. If I zoom in, does it do anything? Whatever. Yeah, it's very, very nicely carved. It's a good lesson, you know. If I was looking at this 30 years ago, before I had a chance to learn about carving, this would have been a good thing for me to study, how deep the thing is carved, how the angle of the knife moves and stuff like that. This is a lesson, beautiful, beautiful lesson in calligraphy carving. Really, really nicely done. I mean, if you just came at this piece of paper, you wouldn't know that it was a woodblock print. It just looks beautifully calligraphy, you know. All the sweeps and smooths and swirls and getting narrow and getting thick and the strength of the brush. The only thing that tells you that this isn't brushstroke calligraphy is the unity of the color. It's all the same gray, black, gray, black. But whereas if it actually had been brushstroked, at some point the brush is loaded up with black and it runs out of ink, and then it's loaded up and runs out. So you get more of a gradation effect. When it's woodblock printed, of course, they become more of a flat color. And they've put the names of the people who did it. Hatsune Miku was the name of the song, and we have Oka Onitaro as the guy who wrote the lyrics. Oka Onitaro, that sounds like a made-up art name, Onitaro, as the Saka, creator of lyrics. And then we have the fourth generation, Uji, and I don't know how to pronounce this. Uji is the family name, it's a common family name, and this is Murasaki and Bun, but I don't know how you pronounce them when you put them together. And this is Sakkyoku, music, the guy who did the music for this. And he's the fourth generation. This is back in Showa 5. So I should get on Wikipedia, whatever, try and look up some of this stuff, whatever, no idea. So. And this is Nagauta, and actually could be, I mentioned before, Enka. Those people doing enka songs, they could be also singing something like this. This is a song that probably goes way back, early Showa, and I should Google it a bit more, Wikipedia a bit more, see what's up. This very song could have been sung right here down the street in that concert hall next door. So very interesting find. It came free for me in an auction of stuff that we just bought, basically thinking it might be useful or might not. And it turned out to be a little gold mine. The song lyrics here, the sheet itself is dated Showa 5. Whether that's the date that this block set and printout was made, I don't know. The block set can't be any older than that, obviously. Showa 5 is not that old. It's, I don't know, what did somebody work it out already? 1930 or something like that. Anyway, there you have it. Very, very, very nice find. And a beautiful piece of wood that is now going to keep giving to another generation. The guys who prepared this, you know, they could never have thought about it. They had a job to do carving this lyric set, so they ordered a couple of pieces of wood. Totally, absolutely nothing out of the ordinary. They would have called up their block supplier. We need 3 pieces of wood, X by Y, can you send them over? They send them over, they pay the bill, bingo. The blocks are carved, this thing would have been published or printed or distributed, the blocks then go to sleep somewhere, nobody needs them. But now, here in 2019, the blocks came to the one place where they were desperately needed, and we had the technology to be able to do this. We split them off, preserved the top, And the bottom pieces now, 1, 2, are going to come to life again as a new Jed Henry woodblock print over the next couple of years. It was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful find. I'm going to be careful not to smack these things. It's really delicate, you know. The pieces of wood are not delicate, but the carved surface is, of course, delicate. And I still haven't even unwrapped all the other blocks that were in the box. I just didn't have time to do that when I was in Ome on Tuesday. So we'll see what else is in there. I haven't even looked as far as the bottom of the box. Just there's not time for it. Okay, there we go. Nice, pleasant show and tell. One that will be this little print is going to be in the shop. Absolutely, it's going to be in the shop. What's there? Kawai-san, good morning. Hello, hello. Is it that time? Is it? Sure. Okay, we have time for a few minutes work. Look at that, they're all lined up outside the kimono shop. Have you been doing research in the background for me here? Let's have a look. How did they know what the melody to the song was? Well, no, this isn't supposed to be a song sheet that people would sing. This was just simply a print out of the lyrics. You know, obviously the melody would be stored and preserved in another place. This is just simply a lyric sheet, that's all. How old are the blocks? About 90 years. Is that what it is? 90 years? I guess so, 1930. I didn't realize it's almost a century old, my God. The Hatsune Miku is the virtual singer, but the word Hatsune, first sound, has nothing to do with Hatsune Miku. They've picked up a classical phrase to show. If I imagine Hatsune Miku comes back from classical poetry from many, many, many years ago, much longer. Okay, here we are, 9:17. Okay, let's do a bit more here. Am I on camera? Yeah, let's do a little bit. So back to the real work. This again now is part of that stage 3 process. After the lines are cut and after the waste wood is removed, stage 3 is cleaning things up, flattening out the base. It's going to be crazy today. It's short staff again. It's just me, Kawai-san, and Nakamura-san. And we've got parties, and full parties, 5, 5, 5 or something all through the day. We normally run the parties just to 4, but we've got a bunch of people who just want to get in there. We push it to 5 at busy season, even though it means it takes a bit longer to get through the block set. Everybody has to wait a bit longer for their turn, stuff like that. But it's just the demand. When you got a reservation for 3 people and another couple wants to join, we can't tell them, well, one of you can do it, but the other one has to sit and watch. You just can't do that to people. So when there's a reservation for 3, we put another couple in. It makes 5. Kawai-san, good morning. Hello. 今日忙しいですね。5名、4名、5名かなとか。フォーハウスね。今日4時はいいですね。もうこのお願いが来るとお客さん申し訳ない。いいですか？そうです。 今日渋さんいないですから大丈夫かな。
柴さんいないですか今日。
今日渋さんと中村さんじゃない？
なんか
スタッフ見なかった。
柴さん来れないんで多分柴さんとチェンジしてくれたと思うんですよ。
じゃあ、柴河合私。
そうです。
そうですか。そうか。ごめん、見なかったんですが。
最後の週多分
そうか。じゃあ渋さんすごい頑張ってる今週。
柴さん本当柴さんのおかげで助かってます。
Wow. Good morning. Hello.
おはようございます。
I didn't know what staff was doing. What's this? Questions. Nothing about this. Hi. Morning to Kawai-san. Did I spell that right? Yes, his name is Kawa. It's 3 syllables. Kawai. The famous word you know that means cute is 4 syllables. Kawai. His name is Kawai. It's a very common Japanese name. There's 3 or 4 different ways to spell it in terms of which kanji to use, but it's quite a common name. You see it everywhere. Okay, I think I better sign off and get out of here, get back to work. It'll be a busy day for us in the shop here. Today is Sunday, so it means there'll be a stream tomorrow. But it's tomorrow. I think tomorrow is one of those places where we have an early party reservation. Just a second. Let me check on that. This is Sunday morning. Tomorrow's party reservations, April the 1st. We do. There's an 8:30 party tomorrow morning. So advance warning here. Yeah. Tomorrow's stream will be short. I think I'll do it because it's an 8:30 party. So I'll just do a short little hello, how you doing, and goodbye, whatever. Just to touch base because Tuesday's going to be off. But tomorrow's stream, April 1st stream, Monday morning for me, Sunday night for you guys. Tomorrow's stream will be a short stream because of the party. Next door, people waiting for the kimono shop. Michelle? No, wait a minute, 9:23. Kimono shop must be open by now. Whatever, overloaded, waiting. Look at them all, looking at their phones. I don't know what's going on. Let's get out of here. Let's get some work done. Thanks for doing this again. I know today actually is going to be a super busy day. I've already done a batch of dosa upstairs this morning before starting this. Now we got a bit of work done on this stream. And there's now parties throughout the day. It's going to be an insane weekend. And now for me, the next 2 months are going to be, they're going to be fun, in quotation marks. And they are going to be fun, but it's going to be difficult. So there might be times during the next couple of months when I have to give the stream a rest and stuff like this, or have early parties. So this is our ultimate peak season coming now for the next 6 weeks or so. We're in the tourist business, and it's a seasonal business, and that's the way it goes. Anyway, thanks for watching today. I hope it's been something interesting for you. I'll see you tomorrow morning for a short stream. Tuesday we'll be off, and we'll be back at it Wednesday for the regular schedule. Thanks, guys. Let me get off, get myself a cup of coffee, and get busy. What are they watching on those phones? Anyway, bye-bye, guys. Thank you. Okay, signing off. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.